And how does unification come together? We're pulling out conversation about conversations and getting a community gathering either through social media, on YouTube, on any platform, because that is the way to do it, and actually expand beyond anything that ever happened, which is the matrix holding your consciousness in victim consciousness, in the fear syndrome, in the hacking, in the attacks, and name it. And so clearing out most of the old relationships that kept you very much down is so important to keep on doing it and doing it and doing it. And the most important thing here is to really release it from the vagus nerve that runs all the way through the solar plexus, the sacral, the heart center, the throat, into your glandular system in your head. So imagine that vagus, when that is being cleared, that vagus nerves, that nerves out any other nerve in your system, which is your electricity, your attraction basically to new people and new community building, for self in the first place, for businesses, and many other cultural related platforms, such as education, for example, and youth and children that will need us massively. So I would strongly suggest here to think about what a relationship means to you. It means you communicate on a high level, not once a month or every 2 or 3 months, but every day. Get your communication out, and that is essentially what is going to move you into the platform of ascending beyond the density of the earth or the old solar system that has been broken down anyways. So if you've seen my video about the new moon that was all stationed into the frequencies of Shambhala, Leo, the sun, the great central sun, moving into the bigger shift with the Aquarian age, the age of knowledge, and the split shift and the fast movement that is coming through in February, then ask yourself, did you release these old tracks in order to open up the new tracks that are truly meant for you to grow, for you to develop new consciousness that has no signature of the old left into your energy fields. And once you understand that, I have a link over there if you would really like to pull out a list of every name that needs to leave your equation and release it from the glands, release it from the sacral, the solar, the sexual glands, especially if you've had an intimate relationship, because that is where it clings to the most. It sticks like a ticker tape on these glands. And so that is reason why many people see relationships coming back, and they need to truly move into a completion. And once we have completed it, then they cannot even enter any of your field of life-giving properties. Let's put it that way. That's a nice way, you know, your own space, so to speak. And so with that alignment that I have there, should you wish to do that, there is no way any of your chosen relationships can ever enter your space again. It is kicked out forever, and that is a necessity for many people. Because if you would like to have conversations worldwide, as we are gathering worldwide, then communication on the higher degrees of mentality is a necessity as well. And so as I started out my ascension like in the year 2000, 20 years ago, and I was meeting up with an entity in the United Kingdom like in 2013 it was, and I started to put out messages on Messenger. But little did I know that these messages would turn out into having a communication like 3 to 5 hours a day. So imagine that a week, a month, over years, and that is truly bullheaded entities. These conversations were all about ascension, truth, the lies that were being put out, as we were already born in spirit consciousness, so overriding the old soul fractures on a very high level. And that is so important to understand, because anything of the soul is being cleared in order for you to incorporate the highest sun vibration. You see, every time I take a video, the sun comes out. Apart from that, it stays away a whole day. So that is a big sign I'm in alignment with what I'm talking about and these higher sun vibrations. So the solar center gets really flat when you have released that these old vibrations, which I term nutritions, and reading about it in my new book, Between the Moon and the Sun, or Stillness Between Two Entities, which is me on Facebook under the name Preview, and him on Facebook under the name Cosmos, incorporating the cosmos, and me going into the preview of Ascension. So that was crossover matter, really like a Celtic knot that came into fruition, because we would discuss truth, we would discuss healing, we would discuss the falseness being put out in the banking system, in the justice system especially, so, and how healing works and why it oftentimes does not work at all, meaning you dig into the old systems of healing while new technology is available, right? You are not particularly going to take or buy or have a cell phone that is like 30 years old. That wouldn't really allow you to have the new apps or applications on your cell phone. And when you don't have that, you are a million years backwards. You are streaming backwards instead of moving with the flow of evolution and the fast spinning vibration of the earth into its ascension, because the earth is not only important for the solar system but for the galactic universal systems, even into the beyond, as it carries that high vibration, the crystallization of the body, in which my book speaks about a lot, and how to do it, because the healing comes through the crystalline grids overriding the matrix. Remember the movie The Matrix? And so overriding the electromagnetic system is what is going to heal you inside out. And a few techniques can assist you. So I explain that is in my side notes in this book, after having these intense, deep, genuine, pragmatic, analytical conversations with this entity, in which we would certainly not impoverish conversations. We would just keep it up to sending each other some musical vibes and stuff, which are also there in the book. So it's a great joy to bring it out in great and high level authenticity, as I didn't leave out a word at all when I published this book. So if you'd like to enjoy the larger level introduction and have some fun, about how this conversation started actually out. So I have this free PDF file on my website available. You can buy the book on Amazon, because it's going to support you. It's going to support you in seeing and understanding your own healing processes, because it speaks about truth, about what works, what doesn't work. It speaks about how important this conversation can give you more and more understanding, insight, and actually healing. Because if you understand healing, then it can come true. If you just breathe through anything that comes on your platform without understanding, then it becomes pretty much difficult to understand how you can move with evolution and expand within a new tribe, within a new group format. You know, it's actually all about team building, and far beyond that, as with the Aquarium vibrations opening up this year, or this year and many years to come, sorry. Yes, we need to not be afraid to communicate what bothers us. And even if we do not know how to deal with certain vibrations you experience, it's important to communicate and expect an outcome from entities that have held on purity, integrity, and a high level of understanding, universally speaking. So yeah, I would say I remember, you know, moving into my own ascension and understanding these platforms which I speak about. We all need justice, right? And we have been done wrong on every level, but we need to accept it first, and from acceptance comes the alignment into peace, and from peace you can understand messages coming through, not on the astral levels or the dream plate. Alright, we need to move on the other side in the crystalline grids, because it's the astrological belt that keeps you backwards in victim consciousness and in attachment to old. And once we move out of that through simple alignments, which I explain a lot and over explain again and again and again, until you get it, while having fun with the conversations going on like a spinning wheel, very fast at times, like neither of us would ever impoverish anything. We would just pull it through, as we are true horns, right? A horn meeting a horn, an Aries meeting a Capricorn. I can tell you, being pragmatic, analytical, and not digging in, let's say, the older ways of having just a communication or a conversation. No, it needs to go deep, truly. So going back into the justice system, which I deem very important, as both of us, we were attacked like from birth on, even in the crib, even in kindergarten, as we were already spreading light. We were spreading different and new words, and that was, for me, it's almost 60 years ago, so I'm almost hitting 60. So that's a long time ago. And I, back then, as a child, even growing up in my youth, I didn't understand why people didn't understand me. Essentially, like, I was already working with the universe, and I thought it was quite natural. And these quite natural things for me right now should be taught to children and youth, actually. Like, if we get up in the morning and we align to the sun vibrations, at least, that is what we cherish the most and should come back. So I commanded and moved myself into the higher galactic systems and vibrations, and wanted justice in many situations. So one of them, for example, was my mother moved into a elderly home, and there was so much manipulation and going on, and I went into that elderly home and I just explained it with a big word to all these nurses, and next time was the supervisors of this nurse called me next day, and they said the entire building of that elderly home was in great shock with my presence. And I simply said, I hope so, because they were doing wrong to every entity, manipulating and taking things away from them and not taking care of them as should be, as what they're being paid for. And so I said, damn, how am I going to take that into court? And that was so many miles apart from my home, and I wanted to get my mother into my hometown. You know, she was hitting 80 years old, and I said, my gosh, that's going to be hard, but it should be hard because I'm in alignment. That's what I said. So next thing what happened is, of course, I breathed through the alignment. I asked for the alignments. I asked for the communication ley lines to settle up and then put that at least into action. So I went to a grocery shop to get my vegetables and stuff. And next time that happened, I said, damn, that is the judge I, sort of sent my emails to, and he didn't really respond. But hey, Nick, the universe is putting this on this platter. And you know, that's about, 8 years ago. I said, damn, what am I going to do? I was wandering around, and you know, when I got outside, it was summertime. I was looking at this entity. He left the shop, and I said to myself, don't leave that. This is your chance to talk to this person. And then he went to the next shop, which was selling more like healthy stuff, like essential oils and that kind of thing. So I was thinking that's maybe not so bad a person and wanting, you know, good stuff in his life. And so I said, you finally gonna stop wandering around, you know, address the entity. It's yes or no, right? So he came out of that second shop as I was watching him all the time. And I said, could you perhaps be that person? You know, I did see some YouTube videos about him moving into universities and talking to new students and stuff, which I think was very positive. So I started out that conversation with that would kick in, you know, that was coming through my brain. And then I was talking about my mother, how she was manipulated and stuff. And he said, you know, I'll give you my straight email address and skip all the rest. He said, here it is. You address me, you give me all the papers, and I will take care of you. And I will communicate to that other town, to the judges over there immediately. And so I got justice. It took me a bit of time. It took him a bit of time. But then again, how beautiful is it, right? Talking directly to a judge that has power in that domain in which we don't have power at all. It takes communication, conversations, and so we need to truly build it and rebuild it. And that is why my book, Between the Sun and the Moon, which are extreme communications about truth, about justice, about healing, about ascension, with which you can truly have some fun into the greater understanding of what will happen in 2021. So hit your free PDF or go straight to the Amazon. You will not regret it, because you will learn so much through this wonderful book. I finally had the guts to put it out, because I started it out like copying and pasting and getting it in a book format in 2018, but I couldn't get over it. So many emotions attached to it. So by 2020, I was releasing my emotional body and now having truth and fun and understanding this conversation myself on a higher platform, and that is termed divine timing. You see, I couldn't put it out before I understood it myself and give you a lot more explanation with the conversations, which makes it the more interesting. So thank you so much for being with me, helping my grow my channel, subscribing, liking, and because you never know how much videos I put out, mostly Tuesdays and Thursdays in the week. So that's what I have for you. Enjoy, keep it up, and vibrate high out. Thank you.